Hey guys, it's Scott from Diversified Acres Homestead. I wanted to cover something in this video that Amber and I never thought that we'd be dealing with in our time as homesteaders, and that's our own personal doomsday. I'm not talking about Jesus Christ being resurrected. I'm talking about our doomsday. The thing that we were classified as preppers for because we grew a garden and we canned our vegetables, or that we raised our livestock and we processed it, turned it into food to feed our family, and we preserved it so that we could have it at a later date. That date has come and gone for us. About just a little over a year ago, I was injured at work. The company that I worked for had workers' compensation insurance, as they were required to have, but that really means little. And for those of you who have never been injured on the job and had to deal with workers' compensation, it's not a fairy sitting in a cubicle somewhere with a stack of checks waiting to satisfy your every need. It's not even close to that. I would compare it more to a demon with these big pus-filled moles with curly hairs hanging out of, and horns, fangs, long noses, all the traits that you would see as a demon. That would be more of what I would classify as a workers' compensation manager, we'll call them. That's what they call themselves. Those people are not your friend. They are not there to take care of you. They're not there to ensure that even though you can't work, that you receive a paycheck. They're there to look out for their customer, and their customer is not you. You don't pay them. Their customer is the contractor or the company that you worked for or you work for. That is who they're there to protect. So any chance that they get to screw you over, that's what they're going to do. That's been my experience. Now, it's been a very poor experience, and I'm hoping that I'm an isolated case, because a little over a year ago I fell and crushed 4 vertebrae in my neck, high up in my neck, and damaged a few in my low back. I went through all the proper channels. I reported the incident immediately. Matter of fact, I had to be rescued and brought down by some of my fellow employees, and they didn't want me to go to the hospital. They didn't want me to go to the doctor. They wanted me to shake it off and go home and die, I guess, and not tell anybody that I got hurt. But that didn't happen. I was hurt severely, and within a few days we were needing to go to. Within a day I needed to go to the doctor, but within a few days they actually got me to the doctor. And that's when I found that I had the 4 crushed vertebrae and disc in my neck. As time had progressed, it had gotten worse, and the pain had gotten worse, and it wasn't anything that we were prepared for. We figured we would, worst case scenario, we would go to the bank one day and attempt to cash our checks, and the banks would be closed, and we'd find out that the government had collapsed, and there was not going to be any more banks, and that we were going to be stuck with no money and go back to the days of the recession and have to live off our land like we had been doing successfully for the last few years. as we've raised our garden and raised our livestock to provide for us, and it did so very well, very well. But this video is about, asking you guys, are you prepared? If this happened to you, if you work a public job and you got hurt tomorrow, what is the procedure that you have in place to protect you from going through what we're going through? Because I can tell you, it's no fun. We're in a lot of trouble. We've eaten well for the last year, but meanwhile, our credit's been destroyed. Our house is borderline of foreclosure. Our car is borderline of repossession. Our utilities are just weeks and days of being cut off. Insurances are weeks and days of being expired and terminated. So, in short, there's. Are you prepared? Are you prepared to handle that? And I'm hoping that I'm the only one who wasn't prepared, because it could happen to any of us any day. Even on the homestead, you could get injured and you'd just be done. So I wanted to make sure that my fellow brothers and sister homesteaders were, had considered these things as an option or a possibility, because it can occur. We didn't think it would, but it can. And if it does, what are you going to do? We're currently dealing with this. We get a paycheck 1 week, and then we'll go 2 weeks without a paycheck, and then we'll get a paycheck for 1 week, and then we'll go 3 weeks without a paycheck, and then we'll get a check for 1 week, and then we'll get another check the next week, and then we won't get one for 7 weeks, and then we'll get one for 1 week. So I don't know about you all, but I can't live like that. My banks, my creditors, they want their money every month at the same time, and if they don't get it, they want to charge you penalties and interest and fees and everything else. And then your utility companies, they don't care either. They'll turn your electricity off. They don't care. They want their money on time, and if they're not getting it, then they'll just shut you down, and then there you'll be. And in our county, if your electricity is turned off, then your property is considered condemned, and the housing authority will come out and condemn your property, and then they'll cite you criminally for trespassing. It's the damnedest thing you've ever heard of, but it happens, and it happens all over the world. It's not just here. So I've been off work for over a year, and the only thing that we've been able to find that's been consistent about the workers' compensation is the inconsistencies. That's consistent. The way that they pay you, and the way that they lie to you and try and convince you that things aren't as they seem, and they are. It didn't take us but just a few days to realize that when they told us the check's in the mail, that it really wasn't in the mail. It might have been in somebody's mail slot, but it wasn't in the mail. We would go check the mailbox, and it would be full of bills and sale bills and things of that nature, but it was never full of checks. We thought maybe we had, a crook in the neighborhood who was just stealing our checks. But as my attorney dug into it, he found out that the checks had not even been written. So there were no checks. It was just part of their scam. It was part of their ploy. So I would really like to know, has this happened? Are there other people out there that this has occurred with other than myself? And if so, give us a comment down below. Let me know that that I'm not alone. And I hate to think that, and I definitely hate to bring it back up to you, that, and have to relive it by sharing your story with me, but, I'd be interested in knowing how you survived it, how you kept from losing everything, because at this point I've exhausted all the resources I have, which are pretty limited. I don't have a great deal of family that can help us out with this stuff, and or that will help us out with this stuff. And I think I even have just a few less friends than I do of family that will help us out or can help us out. So a while back I had a friend of mine recommend that you put together a GoFundMe account, and she kind of headed that up and put it together, and then turned it over to me, and I said, now what do I do with it? And she said, well, send it to your friends and get them to donate. So and that's what people do, they help out one another. Well, I sent it out, and to all 3 or 4 of my friends, and 3 or 4 of them helped. But they're in the same boat as most Americans are. We can't afford to financially help somebody else because we're struggling ourselves. Most of us live week to week and paycheck to paycheck, and they're no exception. They're no exception. So I was fortunate that they were able to help us out a little bit. That they were able to help us out. I was very grateful. We're very humble and grateful for that. So, like I said, we've tried to think that maybe we're the only ones out there that this has ever happened to, and that'd be pretty naive to believe that's the case. I feel confident that there are more, and I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. What got you through this? When did you have to just give up and just let everything go? And when did you do that? At what point did you say that? I can't keep this. I have to let it go. And like I said, we've sold all of our livestock off. We have a few hogs left. We have a few chickens left, and I think a turkey and maybe a duck or something. But we have had to get rid of all of our cattle. We got rid of most of our equipment for farming. We have some, we do have some old equipment that's left here that we haven't got rid of yet. It's what we started with. Some of it is what we started with 15 years ago, and it's still here. And if we get down to it, we'll have to, if we can find somebody that's interested in it, we'll have to sell it as well, and to make ends meet, and then figure out a way of starting over or rebuilding or what it's going to take. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching this. I'm sorry it's so long. If you know of anybody that has been in this situation, share this video with them. Tell them to comment. Write me, send me a message. If you got any ideas, any pointers, if you want to help out, that's how you help. You share the information. Help me get some understanding as to, when's this end? When's it get better? Is it going to get better? When do you turn it over? When do you just say, okay, I can't keep it no more. I've got to let it go. When do you call it quits and just give in and let this corporate monster take over your life and ruin everything that you've attempted to build? I need to know when that is. I need to prepare myself for that, because I feel like I've worked too hard for what little bit I do have to just stop, and I can't get my mind to wrap around that and let that happen. So anyway, if you found this video informative, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, throw it down. Makes no difference to me whatsoever. but I would like to, a good comment would be nice. Share it, like I said, with friends who might have experienced this. Go over and check us out on Facebook. If you want to see if we survived this thing, subscribe. We'll be putting out some other videos at some point on what we do have left and what we're trying to rebuild from. We do have a few videos up to go check them out. If you like those, give us a like. The quality of the videos will increase as time goes on. I'm not a computer guy, so my skills with editing and the software and things that I'm using are all borrowed from somebody else at this point. So, because we don't have anything like that left now, we've given that up as well, either for to pay the electric bill or the water bill or whatever, but it's gone. So we're using a buddy of mine's camera now, and my daughter's computer, and my ex-wife's internet. Thank you. But you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, Google+. In some locations we're Diversified Acres as one word, and then spaced with Homestead following, and others were just Diversified Acres Homestead, all independent words. But check us out, and we'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a blessed evening.